Hi, my name is Sandnes with RMS Roller-Grinder, and today we're going to talk about the process of how to parallel and zero your rolls and the importance of them. So oftentimes customers will ask us, how do I and why do I need to parallel and zero the rolls? First thing is paralleling zero the rolls is actually two processes. The first process is the actual paralleling the rolls, so making sure that they are equal distance apart. And the zeroing process is making sure that we have a known point where the faces of the rolls would touch if they're at zero. So why you need to do that? Generally speaking, the main reasons why you're trying to do that is because you're trying to keep a consistent grind profile. If your rolls are out of parallel, meaning like one side is open more than the other, you're going to get uneven grind size, and that can affect your micron size and your deviation. The other thing that will do is if your rolls are out of parallel, it will also start to create uneven wear, where one set of the rolls, so say down here where they're closer together, is working harder than the other. And the last reason why you need to parallel and zero the rolls, oftentimes we tell customers, is because when they're uneven like this, you may get uneven motor load amps. So I'm going to take a little bit of time while the machine is off, and I'm going to show you how we actually go through the process of paralleling it and then zeroing it. So the first thing you're going to need to know is anytime that you're moving the fine adjustments, you always want to make sure that the lash or the mechanical advantage of it is always moving in. If you make any small adjustments, if you're moving in, you can keep moving in. If you ever have to back it out, you want to make it one full revolution or a good portion of a revolution open and then bring it back in. So the very first thing we're going to do, we're going to start on either the left side or the right side. Today we'll start on the right side, and we'll show you how to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move the rolls in, or where we think they are, until they're at the 5,000 or 50,000 on the dial plates here. So each of the dial plates has one of these little hash marks, and each of these hash marks represents a thousandth of an inch. So every time you're moving that roll in with your wrench, you're moving it a thousandth of an inch. So the big hash marks are 10,000, 20, 30, 40, 50, all the way around, right? So as you want to move in, you take the dial and the wrench, and you close the roll down or make it go clockwise, and that'll close the roll. If you want to open the rolls, you open it and go counterclockwise. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to actually parallel the rolls, and then we're zeroing them. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take the wrench, you're going to move them in, and you're going to keep moving it in slowly until you start to hear the rolls actually rub or nick. Okay? So oftentimes though, customers will get concerned and they'll ask me, hey, is it a problem if our rolls touch? No, for the brief amount of time when we're going to touch them, it's not a problem for them. They're really hard, so you don't have to be worried about that. Now, if you were to run the rolls together for an excessive amount of time, you will start to wear them. But for this short period of time, you're okay. The other thing is they'll say, well, I hear the roll touching, and the reality is it actually could be the V-block. So this V-block actually sits on the end of the roll, and it keeps material from getting out this side of the roll. So imagine one of the rolls right here and the other one right here. And as those rolls come in, they can start to hear this. Normally when you hear this noise, it's more of like a high-pitched whistling sound. But again, high pitch. When you're hearing rolls, it's a little bit more of a low grumbling sound in that nature. So again, we're going to move them in, we're going to keep moving in, and oftentimes the first time you see it, it's going to go past the zero. So let's say we moved it into right here and we start to hear the rolls touch, right? You would take your dial, you're going to move it to the zero. While those rolls are still there touching, you're going to open it up one full revolution and then bring it back to the 5. Okay? And we're just bringing it to the 5 to keep it at a known point. Then we're going to go over and do the same thing on the left side of the machine. Go ahead and move it in, move it in, move it in, until finally, say, it starts to hit like right here. What you do, move the little dial, open it back up a revolution, and bring it back to the 5. Now again, you keep doing this process until when you hear the rolls touch at the 0 mark, then you'll know that they're parallel with each other. Okay? And if they're not, you just keep doing that back and forth. Generally, it'll take 2 to 3 times of this process, both the left and right side, to get you so they're parallel. Okay? Once you have that again, let's move it back to 5. Now what we need to do is we need to kind of transition from the parallel process to the zeroing process. And how we do that is we start to walk the rolls in, because we don't really know how far away from the face of the rolls they are from each other. So we're gonna walk those rolls in, and then we'll actually set the 0. So what I do is I walk it in 5 thou at a time, left and right, till I get to the 2 or the 20,000 mark. 20,000 on here. So just keep moving it back and forth to walk that roll in. Okay, so now they're not really at 20 thou. Again, we're trying to set the 0 point. And how we have to do that now is when we start to move the rolls in, they're gonna hit. And they're gonna hit most likely before the 0. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna count from this known point how many hash marks away it is until the roll starts to hit. So let's say we're doing this and we're moving the roll in, going real slow, and it hits at that 8 thou away from this point. So from 2 to where the dial point now, you start to hear the roll tick, that's 8 hash marks. 5, 6, 7, one more, 8, okay? Don't touch anything, just note that number 8. What you're gonna do is you're gonna open it up, 1 revolution, again to take that, that tension out of the screw, move it back to the 2, and we knew from this point to where the roll started to touch was 8 thou. So all we're gonna do is take the dial and we're gonna move it to 8 thou or 8 hash marks away from 0. Now you'll do the same thing on the left side of the roll. And as long as your rolls stayed parallel with each other, they're gonna hit about at the same spot. Maybe 1 hash mark off from it. So let's again, pretend like we're going in, you're moving it, and it starts to hit right here. Again, right from the 2 to where it starts to hit, count how many hash marks away it is, and it's 8 thou. Okay? Open it up, note that, open it up, move it back to the 2, and you move that dial in to the 8 thou. Now if you want to check it, all you would have to do then is bring it in, and you'll start to hear the rolls hit at the 0, and then you know that your rolls are now both parallel and 0 from each other. And now you can set your grind profile to whatever gap setting you need to get the grind profile you're looking for. Again, this is a pretty easy process, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We'd love to help you. You can give us a call at our number at 605-368-9007, and anyone would be glad to help you out. Thanks.